folks, air signs specifically. I hope that you are having a great New Year's Eve. I wanted to take a look at some general themes for your 2022. I should say that these won't resonate with every single air sign out there, every single person out there. But in that case, they may resonate for somebody else. So please keep that in mind. When I'm talking about air signs, I'm talking about your sun, moon, ascendant / rising, or your Venus sign. So I asked Spirit a little while before I sat down about some general themes that we could take a look at here. So what I wrote down was, you'll be given the chance to start a passionate new adventure with someone else, or with Spirit or your ancestors. Beware getting so swept up with the passion that you miss red flags along the way. Balance is key, even when flying high. Many with air signs are starting new spiritual journeys, marriages, having children, and starting spirit-inspired careers and businesses this year. So before I get any further into air signs readings, I want to give you folks a little bit of a sound bath, if I can bring it in. That'll work. Okay. So let's take a look at what Spirit would like me to read with first. Aquaria deck wants to come in today. Okay. I just got this deck for myself for solstice and Yule, so I'm still learning to work with this. I'll be taking the first 3 from the bottom. Okay, so we have Archon and Aeon, and I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly. But in this case, this would be about stopping before getting too deep into magic that one doesn't understand completely, right? You'll understand it later, right? On the one hand, we have an angelic figure that is blocking the way, and I hope that that's not just too crazy shiny. We have one angelic figure who is blocking the way. For those who aren't ready to see what deeper magic is available. And then for other folks, they're going to be admitted, right? We have another angelic figure on the other side that is offering a cup, like, come on in, let's discuss some things, right? So this is going to be a place for this is going to be a year for some folks that you start on a magical journey, but you are not completely ready to go too deep yet, right? Maybe you've seen a glimpse of some deeper magic and you're a bit entranced and you're really, really tempted to go further. In that case, this is telling you to stop and do some maturing before you go any further. And this is for your own safety as a magician, right? This angelic figure on the left is going to bump you back if you don't listen, okay? But for a few other folks, you're going to be ushered into a new era of your magical journey here. So I think this is the perfect card to pull for Gemini's 2 figures. It makes perfect sense to me. You are going to need to be in some seclusion here in order to listen properly, to your spirit guides. And this is key. You're not even going to get up to archons and ions gate if you're not listening to spirit guides. And for a lot of you, the only way that you're going to be able to get in contact with those spirit guides is by setting aside, the word that came into my head just now was doing a little bit of the hermit kind of thing, right? Setting up a bit of a hermitage for yourself. Maybe for some people, you go out into the wilderness, right? For some folks, you might cut off technology altogether for a brief amount of time while you listen about the directions that your magical journey should take for the moment. I'm getting one card from the top, not from the bottom. This is how you're going to build your magical foundation. If you genuinely work hard with spirit to decide what course your magical journey should take, if you set aside time for yourself, and this is where you wouldn't just cut off technology in the sense that this would be letting go of social media for a time. This would be where you just listen to spirit. You don't listen to human entities, literally, right? There might be some earth angels somewhere along earth pointing you to where you should go, but at the end of the day, spirit is your source for ultimately your source for all your information. And this is how you start to decide whether it's time to hang back and continue to do some more pre-practice, if you will, before you're admitted through this particular gate. But for a lot of folks, this is going to be a stop where you are card. Hang out on your magical journey, kind of, if you're a gamer, grind, if you will, like kind of build your stats, so to speak, before you head on up. This is absolutely necessary for yourself. 2 more cards from the top. The Giver of Gifts and the Grindstone. Someone may give you a gift that is very important for your spiritual journey. And once you get that gift, it's going to set off a period where I talked about pre-practice earlier. The grindstone is going to, I said grind earlier too. You're basically going to be leveling yourself up over this year in preparation to pass through that gate. This is going to be for most folks as air signs. If you're starting out on your magical journey, your spiritual journey, your tarot journey, whatever it may be, someone's going to give you a gift, and that's just going to really start something moving. I'm getting around the time of your birthday, right when your solar return starts to happen. This is when stuff is really going to start to kick stuff off with you. Be patient with this, is what I'm getting from Spirit. The Quaria deck and these cards say that is it. They say nothing else, okay? So, fantastic. Would any other decks like to speak? Sufi Wisdom would like to speak. Fantastic. These are honest, loving, gentle cards. I've used them on so many occasions for myself, for others. Fantastic oracle cards. Okay. In this year, live in the moment, especially on this new spiritual journey that a lot of you folks, it looks like, are taking. And in this case, you're being told that this is the magician. What you are looking for is within you. That is ultimate magician energy. Okay? You don't need to go to other practitioners necessarily to cast your own spells one day, right? That's what that archon and aeon is eventually going to symbolize. Once you pass that gate, once you go into seclusion, build that foundation with spirit. This is how you build that foundation with spirit, right? Live in the moment. And that might work really well for air signs, to be honest. But if something just pops into your world one day, flow with it, right? It's probably there for a really good reason. A lot of you are starting something completely new, and especially if it's a spiritual journey, or if it's a new business, if it's a new career, if it's a new love interest or something like that, you are going to need to create with that magician power, right? And again, this is going to come from spirit. Please contact your spirit guides and the ancestors in your life that mean you well. I want to take a look at the two mantras, actually, with these two cards before we roll on any further. So with live in the moment, you have, I will not let yesterday crowd out today, and I will not let fear of tomorrow dominate my actions and thoughts. I am determined to live more consciously and fully experience each moment as it comes. So loosen up, lighten up a little bit this year, like have some fun, and that might be where some really neat stuff that pushes you along your journey comes along, okay? So a self-creation, what have we got? One of these days I hope to have all these memorized. Okay, your mantra for self-creation is, I am determined to adjust myself to what is not in my control and change what I am able to change to create my desired life. You might encounter some obstacles, right? And for the magician, especially when led by spirit, those obstacles are there to get you to practice for bigger obstacles. Right on, okay? One more card. Those obstacles are there to help you grow, especially on this new journey. Limitation is power. It's there for those limitations are there. Those obstacles are there for a reason. They're not there to stop you. They're not meant to stop you. They're meant to have you strategize and see how you can get around those. Limitation is power. I am determined to lean into what seems to be a limitation and allow it to create a shift in the way I perceive the experience. I realize my limitations will allow me greater freedom of spirit and soul, which is the precious gift of divine grace. For some of you folks, this might be the first time that you're really leaning on your own power in some way or another. This could be spiritual. This could be business related. This could be career related. But in either case, this is an obstacle that you're meant to climb over. You're not meant to stop at or go around the obstacle, right? The point is you're supposed to strategize with this obstacle. You're not supposed to just end with it. No more from Sufi wisdom. Wildwood is next. There are no reversals in the Wildwood Tarot. They're not needed. The messages in these cards, too many. The messages in these cards are often blunt and specific enough that reversals are not needed. Other people do choose to work with reversals. They're not my thing. Let's take a look at more overall themes for your year from the Wildwood Tarot. This is the Wildwood Tarot's version of the Empress, the Green Woman, okay? So a year of creation, and this is Temperance. So when you create, you must first take care of yourself first. The reason she's able to create is because she constantly has an ever-refilling cauldron of life, right? How does that ever-filling cauldron of life occur? Through your spirit guides. Through your spirit guides and through your ancestors, right? I know it's the Green Woman, but it doesn't matter whether or not it doesn't matter your gender identity, okay? We all have balances of masculine and feminine within us, the divine masculine and feminine, I should say, far above our understandings of gender. So that's what she represents here, and you're being called to balance here. Now, there is quite a bit of alchemy, magic here, creation. With this foundation, I do see you eventually being able to get to this point, but you need to be able to nurture yourself first. You need to return to nature. We were talking about taking yourself away from technology, from social media. For gamers like myself, that means letting go of the gaming consoles, letting go of the PC for a little bit, like actually letting go of all technology. Be safe. Keep a satellite phone or a way to get a hold of people in case you need it. But otherwise, you need to connect back to nature. And the way you do that is basically cutting yourself off from a lot of the modern world. Enjoy your refrigerator, your electricity, all that kind of good stuff. You're running water, but you might need to go out into the wilderness for some folks. Because I really, really do feel like contacting nature is how you're going to bring balance back to yourself. This is the Temperance card. And you see how deeply rooted this particular tree, that might be an aspen, I'm not totally sure. I would need to look back at the instruction manual. But I can see how deeply rooted this card is in this stone, which has a very particular face carved into it. This stone reminds me of what we have going on here, establishing a foundation. When you care for your creative outlet first, when you restore balance to that, a lot of other things are going to fall into place because you're taking care of your foundation. You are building your foundation. Celebration, 8 of Bows, Hearth Fire. I know there are a bunch of dudes in here, but again, there is no gender in tarot, and most especially not in this tarot. This is going to be huge. For a lot of my air signs, you're going to be having some really fantastic celebrations this year. When you create from a place of utter balance, inspired by spirit, people are going to celebrate all day with you. They're going to love it, right? Who's not going to love it? They're going to be attracted. You're going to be like a fire attracting all these people to your celebration. The right people, right? It'll be a great way to filter out the awful people, okay? If folks do not celebrate with you, that's a great way to filter out the awful people. 3 of Bows, fulfillment. You've got something coming in. You're waving it in. You've got some incredible things coming in. Stay connected with spirit. You're going to need, again, it's going to tie back to these neat gifts that you're going to get. The Aquaria deck was talking about. Stay attentive. This is connected to your creation ability, okay? Stay attentive to what's coming towards you this year. Pleasant surprises. Let's keep that in mind, okay? This is a neat bird. King of Arrows makes perfect sense. When you keep an eye out for the neat stuff, you're going to need to be alert. I want you to take a look at videos on YouTube of how kingfisher birds hunt. They hover in the air like hummingbirds. They focus on their targets in the water. It's crazy to watch them work. And then once they find their little fish, they go straight down. They often catch their fish, or, I don't know how often. I'm not a bird that much of a bird watcher. But they'll get their fish, and then they go straight back up. These birds are crazy, right? They're awesome to watch, and they're very beautiful too. So something that I would like you to focus on are those gifts that, well, forewarned is forearmed. Now you're a little bit aware that you have some gifts coming in, but they're going to be unexpected either way. Keep an eye on that with laser-focused precision, and when you see one coming in, don't wait. Fish are kind of slippery, right? Neat, wonderful gifts, but they're kind of slippery. Just go for it. Dart down, okay? Queen of Bows. This is going to be about darting around, getting away from evil influences quickly, having a keen eye. Intelligence is connected to this. A lot of you folks are going to need to study on how to become more agile in your business, career, spiritual journey, romantic journey, that kind of thing. Specifically in this card, there is a moon rising. That's going to be about using your intuition. That's going to be about using your intuition and a little bit of moon magic. Some of you might like to work with moons in the future. This is traditionally the Queen of Wands, so that's going to be a very beautiful kind of person. So when we tie this back to the Empress, to the Green Woman, that would again be about finding what within you Spirit finds beautiful, if that makes any sense, right? How does Spirit find you beautiful? And focus on that a lot this year. Speed. I see a lot of speed here. Kingfishers and hares will go really quickly. Speed. You've got some gifts coming in quickly. Be ready to catch them. Air signs, that might not be too difficult. Spirit, would you like more? Spirit, like no more. Well, we can look at the bottom of the deck. You have an incredibly sacred card. This is the Ancestor. So this would be the Hierophant traditionally, but in this case, she symbolizes the Ellen of the Ways. Very old Irish tradition. If you've been looking at the Wildwood deck for yourself, for a lot of folks, this might be an indication that this deck is for you, okay? This was an indication for me that this deck was absolutely for me, that we were made to work together. But definitely, just like this figure right here, she's inviting you onto a new spiritual journey. She's taking you to something incredible. The moon is either rising or setting right here, but either way, there's more moon magic right here with the Ancestor. Connect to your ancestors, the ones who mean you well. Connect to your spirit guides. They're going to lead you down an incredible journey. Actually, we have two trees here that are very similar in nature. I swear, I suspect it's the aspen. These two trees are connected here. You are going to find balance once you start following spirit guides and ancestor on your way to fulfillment. No more from the Wildwood. Thank you, Wildwood. So I heard one more from the Uncertain Oracle. This is a wonderful deck. If you're looking for an oracle deck that doesn't need an instruction manual, you just work off of your intuition, this is the oracle deck for you. It's just been a few weeks since I had this, and I'm already used it a lot. Shout. For an air sign, again, this is going to be about expressing yourself. Again, for a lot of you folks, I feel like you haven't really expressed yourself before. This will be why you're starting out on this new journey. Spiritual, business, career, romantic, whatever have you, okay? But expressing yourself, and this doesn't need at all to be physical. Spiritually, if this resonates with you, spiritually shouting, do it, okay? That's going to work out for somebody, for a lot of the folks, someone very specific that's going to work for, okay? Some of you may be grieving an old way of life, an old relationship. You may have been grieving something that you put a lot of time into, like a career, like a business, and things just have not worked out. You've tried, and there's nothing more that you can really do. If you just feel like you've run up against a wall, that might be Spirit's protection, in a sense, saying, you've done enough, let's try something else, okay? Release it. Okay. Whatever's happened over the past, I'm getting since the pandemic started, that something, a lot of something specifically, have really, really caused a lot of grief for you. You are asking to express that spiritually, if that's through journaling, if that's through therapy, if that's through talking through very close friends, family members, friends, that kind of thing. This is how you're going to move forward as well as you possibly can, okay? With the spiritual journey, it's going to be some character building, and this is a way to actively build character within yourself, to release, to express yourself through journaling, through, for some folks, it's studying what you genuinely love, like through business, career, spirituality. Spirit says, that's enough. Give them a sound bath. I thank my spirit guides and my ancestors for this reading. Air signs, if you would like a personal reading with me, please visit me at fourwandsdivination.com. Otherwise, I hope that you have a wonderful new year. I hope that this year treats you beautifully. Have a good day.